It's Barbara from Divine Creative Love. Today I want to share with you this Christmas Bible journaling that I did on Isaiah 9:6. And this verse says, "For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace." And I just love this verse. So I've already gessoed my page, and what I'm going to be doing is using this Sweet and Sassy stamps set, which already has the Everlasting Father and Prince of Peace stamps. And since it actually doesn't include Wonderful Counselor and Mighty God, so I went ahead and sketched my own version of that. I kind of matched the style of the stamps. And I'm going to include a traceable for y'all that includes all 4 names. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. The first thing I'm doing here is just using the gelatos to create a background for the page. I'm going to use the Canary Diamond, the Citrine, and the Rose Quartz colors from the Iridescence 2 set. And if you've never tried gelatos before, they're really awesome. I have another video here that's all about the gelatos, but they're just really fun to work with. All you need to do is spread them on like a paper plate or just a surface like that, and then spritz them with water, and you can use them as watercolors, or you can rub them directly onto the page. So you can see here I'm just covering the whole entire page with that Canary Diamond color. It's kind of like a golden yellow. And I'm just going to wipe down the canvas and start over. I'm making sure to dry in between the coats, because I want to add another coat of that same color to make it just a little bit darker. And with the gelatos, you can do like I'm doing here and spread the whole color all over the page, or you can do like 2 colors and do like part of the page in one color and then mix another color in. You can do, I don't know, like yellow and orange or red and pink. Do some blue and purple together. You can do it however you like. So again, I'm going to clean everything off and get ready for the next color. So this is the Citrine color. It's a little bit darker. Still kind of a golden yellow, maybe a hint of orange. And I'm just going to add, not quite over the whole page, but just a little bit here and there. So that gives it a little bit darker golden color. And this is a trick that I like to use in a lot of my Bible journals. I cut out a piece of paper that's just about the same size of the focus verse, and then I'm using this double-sided scrapbooking tape which is easily removable, to adhere that piece of paper right over the verse, so then I can color around it and make the rest of the page a little bit darker and leave the verse itself lighter. So it's easy to just stick it right on the page, and then, like I said, it comes off easily. So I'm going to color more of that darker citrine color around the verse. And then the last thing I'm doing for the background is I wanted to add a little bit of pink. So I'm using this rose quartz cover. It actually didn't turn out to look pink on the page. It kind of blended in with the yellow, which is actually kind of cool. It ended up being like almost like a coppery golden color. So you can see how pink it looks on the palette. But then on the page, it's, I don't know, like a bronzy rose gold on the page. And then I almost forgot. I was going to peel that off, and then, oops, I was going to do the stars stencil over there. So this is the scrapbook.com stars stencil that I'm using, and I'm just going to add some gold from the Metallic Gelatos kit to make the stars. But I want to make sure that everything's dry first. The heat tool comes in very handy for that. And just hold the star stencil. And I'm using this little stencil bouncer to apply it. Ideally, it would be a good idea to stick the stencil in place with some tape. But I usually just cheat and hold it down like that. So you can do it either way. In this case, the stencil was really too big to tape it down to the page anyway, so I just held it in place as best I could. And you can see it shifted just a tiny bit there. It's like, oh no, don't move. So there you go. It's not, the gold is not that much darker than the yellow background on the page, which is kind of what I was going for. So you can see the stars, but they're not just super obvious. My first thought was maybe I'll go back in with a little paintbrush and emphasize the stars, but I decided no, maybe not. That's not what I'm going for. I didn't want them to be that dark. So now I can peel off the paper that was over the verse. Make sure everything's dry. And then, so now what we're going to do is work in the margin. So I have this other Sweet and Sassy stamp set that has a stamp that says Christ is born. So that's where I'm going to start. So I have this wonderful Delicata metallic gold stamp pad that I'm going to stamp with. I highly recommend the Delicata stamp. The metallic ink is just so brilliant and sparkly. You can't see on camera how sparkly it is. It's so metallic that it's glittery almost. So the next thing I have is this stencil from the Faith stencil set that I recently got. And I'm just going to use that little text divider there with the little crown right below the Christ is born. So I decided to grab a silver glitter gel pen to fill that in. So now I'm writing in just the first part of Isaiah 9:6, which says, "And he will be called." And then I'm going to work on tracing in these designs that I created earlier. So just using my light pad to trace those onto the page. And you'll notice here I started out with tracing in pencil, but I quickly decided that pencil's not worth it, and I went back in and just got my red pen and just decided to trace that way. So I'm just going to erase the pencil and then just go right in with the red pen. I figured no need to trace it twice. As I was working on this, I was thinking about, what do these names mean? So, like Wonderful Counselor, that Jesus is our friend. He's almost like a guidance counselor. You can call on him for guidance, and he's like our confidant, sort of. He's our wonderful counselor. And I forgot to mention I'm using the Tombow Twin Tone pen for coloring it in. And then in between each name I decided to add a little bit of green. And the name Mighty God just reminds me that with God all things are possible. He can do anything. So I'm just adding more green in between, and then for the rest of the names I have the stamp set. So I'm just going to stamp with some red pigment ink. And then I always make sure to clean the stamp off really good in between. And I'm just using a damp paper towel to clean it off. And I almost forgot the Everlasting Father. That reminds me of the Jesus saying he is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. And then he's the Prince of Peace, just like he says in John 16:33. So now what I'm doing is just adding a little embellishment. I added that little bitty heart stamp to the Wonderful Counselor. And then I have this other Christmas stamp set that I thought it has some little stars in it that would be really perfect for the Everlasting Father. And then I decided I'll add that baby Jesus in the manger to the off to the side there. So the next thing I'm going to do is just go over the Everlasting Father and the Prince of Peace with the red Tombow twin tone marker. I just wanted to make them look as similar to the Wonderful Counselor and Mighty God. It's the red ink and the stamp didn't look quite as the same. Just trying to make them look uniform. And then here I'm just going back in and darkening the Wonderful Counselor and Mighty God. So here I decided to fill in the letters with a little bit of pink. And then the last step that I did here is just to underline parts of the verse in the green and the red. So there you have it. That's the finished page. I actually did go back in later and add some silver glitter pen on the Christ is Born just to make it stand out a little bit more. And I had accidentally rubbed off some of the baby Jesus stamps, so I went back in and re-stamped that too. But you can see how nice that looks and how pretty the metallic gold ink is too. Every year I just love doing a Christmas Bible journal because it helps me get in the Christmas spirit and appreciate what the birth of Jesus means. I just really love how the page turned out. And I hope this helps you get in the Christmas spirit. Thank you for watching. Be sure and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any of my future Bible journaling videos. Bye!